Ladies and gentlemen, please do take your seats. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, we want to thank you, sir, for joining us this morning for this second annual Uganda-UAE Business Forum. Your Excellency, with us this morning is a delegation from the United Arab Emirates, and I wanted in a very special way, as we observe protocol, to recognize the head of delegation from the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, His Excellency Rashid Abdul Karim Al-Bloshi, the Under-Secretary of the Abu Dhabi Department of Economic Development, the Honorable Minister for Investment, the Honorable Evelyn Anite, His Excellency the Ambassador of Uganda to the United Arab Emirates, Ambassador Zake Chebedi, the Consul General of Uganda to Dubai, Ambassador Henry Maiga, the government teams, we have permanent secretaries here. The permanent secretary of the Ministry of Trade is here, and we want to thank her for joining us. The heads of government agencies here, the chairman, Uganda Investment Authority, Morrison Rakakamba, the Director General of Uganda Investment Authority, Robert Muchiza, the Director General of Uganda Export Promotions Board, Dr. Eli Twineo, and the various heads of the other government agencies that are here. The chair, acting chair of the Private Sector Foundation Uganda, Sarah Kajingo, representing her chair here. She is the vice chair, but she's here in her capacity as chair of the Private Sector Foundation, representing the members of the private sector. Our business captains who are here, entrepreneurs. Your Excellency, we even have coffee farmers in this room. I think, Your Excellency, you can see that the biggest audience is the coffee farmers. And in a very special way, members of the Fourth Estate, Your Excellency, which I also represent, who are here and have been doing a good job broadcasting and telling the story of our relations between Uganda and the United Arab Emirates. Your Excellency, this is being broadcast live by your very own Uganda Broadcasting Corporation and our partners, NBS. Your Excellency, we've been here for the last 2 days, this forum having been opened yesterday by the Prime Minister, and we've had several conversations, Your Excellency, on doing business in Uganda. We've had several business-to-business meetings with the delegation from the UAE and some government-to-business meetings that are still ongoing, Your Excellency. And these activities will also include field activities, which the ambassador will speak to. Your Excellency, the Investment Authority and other stakeholders have been engaging with our delegation from the UAE on the investment opportunities in this country, specifically in the agriculture and agribusiness sector, infrastructure, transport and real estate, including ICT, and tourism and trade. But also not lost on the team was a conversation on energy, minerals, oil and gas, an area of expertise from the United Arab Emirates. I want, with your permission, Your Excellency, to recognize these key organizations from the UAE that are here with us, and I will request the Ugandan delegation to give them a round of applause as I introduce them. Our very first stakeholder from the UAE is the Abu Dhabi Department for Economic Development. Can we give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? The next category is the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Can we give them a round of applause? Your Excellency, we also have the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, ADNOC, and they are here represented. Can we give them a round of applause? Your Excellency, the next category, after I have mentioned our platinum sponsor, our sponsors, and they all come from the United Arab Emirates. But allow me begin with our very own modern group, our platinum sponsors, and your very own Ashish, whose factory you opened in Jinja, and we'll be sharing more shortly. I want to recognize the following sponsors. Global Gases. Can we give them a round of applause? One Mobility, another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mayor Power, round of applause. Metro Cement. General Petroleum. Lulu Group. Your Excellency, these are our friends from the retail business who continue to sell Ugandan products and continue to look for more products on the Ugandan market that they can have in their retail shops across the entire Middle East. And finally, Reportage Group, Properties. Reportage, round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, I now take the singular honor to invite Their Excellencies Ambassador Henry Mayiga and Ambassador Zakechi Bedi to come and make their remarks. Can we put our hands together for our ambassadors?
Your Excellency, General Yoweri Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Rashid Abdul Karim Al-Bulshi, Under Secretary, Abu Dhabi Department of Economic Development and leader of the UAE government delegation, the Minister of State in charge of investment, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Honorable Evelyn Anite Kajik, Ambassador Zakechi Bedi, Head of Mission, Uganda Embassy, Abu Dhabi, UAE, all dignitaries in your respective capacities, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, the Uganda-UAE Embassy Forums are annual events that resonate perfectly well with the Uganda Embassy's commercial and economic diplomacy initiative. That initiative broadly aims at achieving a number of objectives, namely, 1, attracting foreign direct investment, promotion of Uganda's tourism potential, facilitating technology transfer, mobilizing Uganda's diaspora for development, and quite a couple of other things. Your Excellency, I must add that the team you deployed in the UAE is equal to the job before us, given what we have so far achieved in the past few years. Uganda's participation in the Expo 2020 in Dubai saw the friendly relations between the two countries, that is Uganda and the UAE, grow by leaps and bounds, and so were the commercial transactions. The esteemed inaugural Uganda United Arab Emirates Business Forum was held last year in the 4 Emirates of the UAE. Those esteemed Emirates included Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, and Ras Al Khaimah. It was graced with the attendance of senior UAE and Uganda government officials, as well as the business community from both countries, and Uganda's diaspora community, who are also part of this congregation here. Your Excellency, this forum is themed Uganda, the gateway to doing business in the East African Community region. And that is for a purpose. We will actively work with our UAE partners to ensure that this south-to-south commercial interaction is sustainable and mutually beneficial. The main objectives of this business forum, Your Excellency, are, amongst others, number 1, to facilitate and foster dialogue amongst officials from the governments of Uganda and the UAE, as well as business communities from both countries. That way, we believe both economic and commercial transactions between our two sister countries will burgeon exponentially. Number 2, to mobilize both the private and public investments in priority sectors of Uganda. Number 3, create partnerships and pathways that have the potential to boost exports from Uganda to the UAE. Number 4 is about the targeted investment priority areas, which include but are not limited to the following: commercial, agriculture and agro-processing / industry, tourism, energy and minerals, oil and gas, manufacturing, infrastructure and public transport, health and education, as well as real estate. Your Excellency, my job was cut out, but allow me to mention something that is particular to me. I want to take this opportunity to thank your government for permitting the opening of the Consulate General in the Emirate of Dubai. We thank you so much. Also, allow me to thank the authorities or the government of the UAE for granting that request from the government of Uganda to open that Consulate General in Dubai. As I said, Your Excellency, my job this morning was cut out, namely to talk about that background and also to talk about the objectives. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Henry Maiga. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Honorable Anite, the State Minister for Investments, Your Excellency Rashid Abdukarim Al-Brushi, Under Secretary, Abu Dhabi Department for Economic Development, His Excellency Abdallah Sarim Saif, Deputy Head of Mission, the Embassy of the United Arab Emirates in Kampala, colleagues from the Uganda Embassy and Consulate General in the United Arab Emirates and from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs present, heads of government institutions and departments present, Your Excellency, we have here today Uganda Investment Authority, Kampala State Council Authority, Uganda Tourism Board, led by the Chairman, Honorable Daudi Migereko, Uganda Export Promotions Board, Uganda Coffee Development Authority, Uganda Registration Services Bureau, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, Insurance Regulatory Authority, Uganda Wildlife Authority, and also from the private sector, we have the Private Sector Foundation, led by the Vice Chair, Sala Kajingo. We have Uganda National Chamber of Commerce and Industries. We have Uganda Manufacturers Association. We also have the Uganda Small-Sized Industries Association, amongst others. We also have the chief executive officers of various companies and enterprises. Ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome to the second edition of the Uganda UAE Business Forum. Your Excellency, you directed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to open up an embassy in the United Arab Emirates in 2009, and the core mandate that was given to the embassy was to promote economic and commercial diplomacy. Your Excellency, this business forum, organized by the embassy and our stakeholders, are in this line of promoting economic and commercial diplomacy. Your Excellency, before I go any further, please allow me to recognize the institutions and the companies, some of them from the UAE that are here today. We have Abu Dhabi Department for Economic Development, led by His Excellency Rashid. We have Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, Your Excellency. As you are well aware, Your Excellency, that UAE is among the top 6 oil producers in the world. We are connecting ADNOC and UNOC to collaborate, especially in the projects we are pursuing in the Albertine region. Your Excellency, we have Sharjah Chamber of Commerce. You've met them a couple of times. And when you visited His Highness, the ruler of Sharjah, you requested him to come and partner with you to develop Chidepo National Park. And they are here, they've met you, they've started on the job. Your Excellency, we have Modern Group. Modern Group is investing in towels, distilling, and now sugar industry. We have One Mobility Group. One Mobility Group, you met them in Abu Dhabi. They're the ones operating public transport in Abu Dhabi. And in Africa, they're operating in Cairo. And Your Excellency, last month, they signed a contract with Dar es Salaam. They've started the bus rapid transit system in Dar es Salaam. And when you met them, you invited them to come. They meet you together with METU to conclude their investment plan. And Your Excellency, they will be meeting you after this engagement. We have General Petroleum. Your Excellency, General Petroleum has set up the first lubricants factory in Uganda. They were allocated land by Uganda Investment Authority, and this factory is in Namanve. You'll be invited soon to commission the factory, the opening of the factory. Your Excellency, we have Amia Power. Amia Power, they are setting up a solar plant in Arua, a 20 megawatt plant. And Your Excellency, I want to thank the Ministry of Energy and the relevant departments together with the Minister for Investments. They've finished the negotiations, and the power purchase agreement is going to be signed at the sidelines of COP28 in Dubai. What is interesting with their investment, Your Excellency, when we are promoting economic and commercial diplomacy, one of the areas we focus on is attracting technology transfer. The plant they are going to set up in Karamoja, 200 megawatts, is going to be a hybrid. During daytime, it's going to be generating solar energy, 80 megawatts, and at night it will be generating 120 megawatts wind energy. Your Excellency, also part of the delegation, we have Lulu Group. Lulu Group is the largest retailer in the Middle East, in UAE and the Middle East. In UAE alone, they have over 80 supermarkets and hypermarkets, and all are selling Ugandan products. Your Excellency, this justifies why Ugandan exports have increased in the last 4 years to the UAE. When I took post in the United Arab Emirates, the Uganda exports to UAE were worth $600 million US, but Your Excellency, now it has grown close to $2 billion US. Your Excellency, part of the delegation from the UAE, we have Y9 Bank. They are going to explain to you what they are collaborating with the Bank of Uganda in this line of making banking, digital banking. Your Excellency, we have New Carbon Vision. These ones are part of our sponsors for our participation at COP28. Your Excellency, ever since Uganda started participating in the climate conferences, it is the first time that Uganda is having a pavilion at COP28 in Dubai. We took advantage of the strong relationship, Your Excellency, Uganda is having with UAE to lobby the government to allocate us a 70 square meter pavilion and an office of 20 square meters. Your Excellency, so many companies are here. Because of time, I'll only read those. I would like to inform the gathering here that in the line of widening and broadening the relations between Uganda and the United Arab Emirates, we've signed a number of memorandum of understandings to facilitate doing business between UAE and Uganda. And some of these MOUs include one for promotion and the protection of investments, avoidance of double taxation, Agricultural cooperation, Your Excellency, the one of agricultural cooperation, the government of UAE was represented none other than the leader of the UAE delegation today, His Excellency Rashid. And it has also facilitated the increase of agricultural products exported to the UAE and the Middle East. Your Excellency, one we are yet to sign soon, is sharing experience on government development and modernization. Your Excellency, I would like to particularly commend His Excellency Rashid Abdul Karim. The first time I met him, he encouraged us as the mission to develop ways of strengthening economic relations between UAE and Uganda. And as a result of that we held the first Uganda-UAE Business Forum last year in Abu Dhabi. And himself and his team advised that the second edition should be in Kampala. And when we agreed, he assured us that himself will lead the delegation, and indeed, Your Excellency, he has walked the talk. Your Excellency, this landmark event, is intended to boost efforts to build on the excellent relations that you've created, yourself and His Excellency Mohammed, the President of UAE, that currently exists between both countries to attract more foreign direct investments, technology transfer, tourists, and promotion of trade for mutual benefit of both countries. Your Excellency, yesterday, I informed our guests that after COVID, Uganda last month registered a total of 185,000 international passengers, with 93,000 arrivals and 91,000 departures, the average being 5,900 passengers daily. I informed our guests that this is the highest passenger traffic ever recorded at Entebbe International Airport. Your Excellency, I believe this has been caused by your wise guidance and decision to revive our national carrier, Uganda Airlines. Your Excellency, now between Uganda and the United Arab Emirates, we have 5 direct flights. We have Uganda Airlines flying daily. We have Emirates Airlines. Fly Dubai operates 2 flights daily, and Air Arabia flying from Sharjah daily. Your Excellency, I also informed our guests yesterday that Uganda registered the highest coffee exports worth 121 million over the last the first 3 months of this year, and it is reported that Uganda registered 4,900 metric tons of cargo arriving into the country and 1,500 tons of cargo departing the country. This is a remarkable increase and improvement in Uganda's post-COVID-19 terms of trade. Your Excellency, the delegation from the United Arab Emirates is here with us for the whole week. They arrived before yesterday, and yesterday we had a full-day program here. We had business-to-business meetings, government-to-business meetings, workshops, conferences, and they were able to interact with the Uganda businesses, and we believe that by the end of this week, new business partnerships shall be formed. Your Excellency, tomorrow the delegation is going for field visits. There is a group that will be visiting the petroleum projects in the Albertine region. And then there is a group that will be visiting the Uganda Manufacturers Association to take them around the factories around, some of the factories around Kampala. There is also a group that is going to be hosted by Uganda Free Zone Authority to see what they've set up there to facilitate doing business in Uganda. Your Excellency, it's our hope that this event will spearhead new business opportunities for both nations, and the political, social, and economic activities between our two friendly countries. Your Excellency, as I conclude, we would not have managed to host this event without sponsorship from our partners. As you mentioned in your speech during the Independence Day celebrations, that the private sector plays a crucial role in economic development. Even us, as the embassy and consulate in Abu Dhabi, we are working closely with the private partners, and it is a result of that that Your Excellency, these companies came up to sponsor this event, the companies below. Modern Group, you can stand up for recognition, please. One Mobility, Global Gases, General Petroleum, Amia Power, Lulu Group, Metro Cement, and Reportage Properties. Your Excellency, without wasting any more time, I take this opportunity to invite the State Minister for Investments. Honorable, okay, there is on the program a short presentation on the investment opportunities in successful investment in Uganda, and it's going to be done by the platinum sponsor, Modern Group.
When intent meets action, an unequivocal force of nature is born. The developmental course of Africa is one such force. Playing the pivotal part in that growth is Uganda, the fastest growing industrial country in East Africa. And at the forefront of Uganda's growth story is the Modern Group. The Modern Group has forged a robust relationship built upon strong foundations of transformative leadership and development-centric approach. The seeds of our relationship with Uganda were sown with Modern Distilleries, which has now bloomed to a group with a total investment of over $200 million, employing over 1,600 people and creating indirect jobs for 2,500 more. And while we create jobs for people, we are creating a business ecosystem worthy of celebration. Modern Group is fueling growth with Kaliro Sugar. Our latest acquisition adds 1,500 plus employees to our workforce. At Modern Tires, we procure 90% of the required raw materials locally. With Modern Realty, we intend to create premium living experiences with projects like the Modern One in Jinja. Modern Aluminium's capacity encompasses a strong base and network and a widely spread supply chain in East Africa. We plan to invest more than $400 million in the next 5 years and deliver unparalleled development and growth for the next generation of Uganda. The Modern Group has also led a bunch of firsts. A remarkable first-in-the-world deal with Lamborghini. We will be producing luxury spirits here to export to the USA and Asian markets. With upcoming investments in pharmaceutical vaccine plants and iron ore plants, we will redefine the strengths of Uganda. With a profound commitment towards the economy of Uganda, we already pay 12 billion shillings in tax, increasing significantly as years go by. With wings of performance spread across multiple skies with Modern Distilleries, Modern Tires, Modern Hygiene, Modern Sugar, Modern Fertilizer, Modern Power, Modern Realty, Modern Aluminium, Kaliro Sugar, and Modern Gas, which supplies food-grade carbon dioxide to international giants like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Reham AB InBev. The imagination of Modern Group is to aim to fly high along with Uganda and its people, like the shimmering gold, forged from the furnace of faith, performance, and undying zest. The growth story of the Modern Group will be the story of developing Uganda.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Honorable Minister of State for Finance in charge of investment and privatization, Honorable Evelyn Anite, His Excellency Rashid Karim from Abu Dhabi, the Ambassador of Uganda to UAE, Mr. Zaki Kibeidi, the Chairman of Uganda Investment Authority, the Director General of Uganda Investment Authority, and all other dignitaries, the delegates from UAE, all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, warm greetings from Modern Group. From distance in India and UAE, we started our opportunity research for impactful investment in Africa since 2010. Our data analytics team was clear. Uganda was the most economical, politically, and socially stable market with huge potential. We finally settled down on Uganda on our investment anchor. I arrived in Uganda in late 2015 with my brother Rajan. It was my first time in Africa. The beauty of the land was both breathtaking and scary. For I had never been to this continent, and in the middle of this thick rainforest, when myself and my father drove together through the Mabira forest en route to Jinja, I asked him, where are we going? We sneaked out of this pristine forest to the beauty of great landscape, a slide of silk, blue flowing river Nile, and embrace of Jinja city. I felt something like the winds of peace and calm. I told my dad, I love it here. I want to build my life and vision from ground up in this wildly fascinating place. This is how the story of Modern Group began on ground in Uganda and laid the foundation of our first plant, Modern Distillers, in December 2015. We have since established 10 industrial verticals with a total investment of over $200 million with import substitution of value $100 million. These are Modern Distillers which came into production in 2017. Modern Gas 2018, Modern Aluminium 2019, Modern Organic Fertilizer 2019, Modern Sanitizer 2020, Modern Tiles 2020, Kidera Sugar 2021, Modern Spirits with Lamborghini Spirit Drinks 2022, our latest acquisition being Kaliro Sugar 2023 and Modern Power 2023. However, keeping the growth pace, we never fail to provide quality in our products. This is evident from the Quality Award conferred upon us over the period of which includes Consumer Choice Award in Gold and Platinum ratings of the year 2022 and 2023, respectively for our tiles, Platinum Award, for East Africa Brand Quality Award, for aluminum and tiles for the year 2022. Manufacturing Excellence Award for our tile plant given by the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. The Republic of Uganda in 2022, the most prestigious award then was the FDI Award of our tile plant Global Investment Award held at Abu Dhabi in UAE 2023 April. Amongst 170 participants, East Africa, Uganda was served as the best FDI. We fetched coveted award for Uganda for the first time in 12 years of the history of the award. As a group, we employ over 2,000 local youths and directly and in approximately 20,000 people indirectly, and contribute not only to the uplifting standards of the living, but also in the generation of exchequer to the government. We aim to supply our products both domestic as well as the export market, and thus not only earn forex revenue for the country, but also build brand image of Uganda across the border countries. Our future plans. We are deepening investments in refined and industrial sugar. We have already started work in Buende district by Modern Sugar, investing over $50 million, and that sugar will be the largest single tender plant in whole of the East Africa region. We have also started preparation to invest $200 million to set up iron ore steel plant in Muko. We took iron ore samples to Austria and the result came out perfect. His Excellency, if you remember a year back, you had told me, Ashish, if you build the iron ore plant in this country, I'll put up a statue on the Kampala Road. I'm still imagining, and that is my dream. So I'm working on it and we'll be doing it very soon. Modern Group. Our group is also looking to set up the pharmaceutical vaccine plant. Our budget for this pharmaceutical vaccine plant is $100 million. Modern Group are the first group in the world to sign up a production deal with Lamborghini, a global conglomerate with a brand value of 280 million euros. We will produce Lamborghini products here in Uganda and export to the US and Asian markets. I want to thank His Excellency and his vision that continues to create the enabling environment for the investments in this country. I also want to thank Honorable Minister Evelyn Anite for the relentless support extended to the Modern Group. I also thank leadership of the Uganda Investment Authority for facilitating our investment. Thank you all.
Your Excellency, his presentation reminds me the question you asked me when you are preparing to come for Dubai Expo 2020, that you believe when I come amid this challenge of COVID, shall we attract some substantial achievements and benefits for Uganda? I assured you, Your Excellency, that we shall. To emphasize this, Your Excellency, by the time you came for Expo, the foreign direct investment from UAE to Uganda was at $1 billion at that time. But after the engagements you held with the president of UAE and some of the rulers, plus the companies you met, Your Excellency, the FDI grew by threefold this year. It has now come to $3 billion, and the companies I talked about are some of those that I've invested here. And as we were planning to organize this business forum, we got a request from the Minister of ICT that in cabinet you approved some investments that should be undertaken under this ministry. And Your Excellency, we deliberately made sure that we include a company in this sector to be part of this delegation. And this company is none other than Fibrain Group. Fibrain Group, stand up for recognition. Your Excellency, what has made it possible for us to follow up the work you left with us when you came for Expo, it is because of the strong teams we have at the Embassy and the Consulate. Allow me to just ask them to stand up for recognition. My colleagues at the Embassy and the Consulate. Thank you. Honorable Anita, please.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Your Excellency Rashid Abdul Karim, the Undersecretary, Department of Economic Development, the Deputy Head of Mission of UAE to Uganda, the Ambassador of Uganda to UAE, my brother Ambassador Zakei, the Ambassador and Honorary Consul of Uganda to Dubai, the Chairman of Uganda Investment Authority, Morrison Rokakamba, the Deputy Chair of Private Sector Foundation, my sister, the Director General of Uganda Investment Authority, our distinguished companies from UAE, the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives, the CEO of Kampala City Authority, all the dignitaries present here, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, I want to ask all Ugandans to put their hands together and congratulate you upon celebrating Uganda's independence. Congratulations. Mr. President, you might be wondering why I'm asking Ugandans and myself to clap. This is because you inherited a collapsed economy. The British left us with an enclave economy, which was 3 C's and 3 T's, which economy collapsed in the hands of Idi Amin. But Mr. President, when you came to power in 1986, you did give assurance to Ugandans that this was not just a change, but it was a fundamental change. Mr. President, why I congratulate you for leading that fundamental change is at the time that you took over the economy of Uganda, it was at 3.9 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, when I say this point, you'll have a reason to clap for President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Today, our economy stands at 48.2 billion. And Mr. President, I know your resolve, and I've heard you as your student. You want it to grow to 500 billion, and you are on the track. Your Excellency, during the independence celebration, you guided Ugandans on 8 points, which you said that were very essential ingredients for the success of Uganda. Allow me just point out one of those 8 points that you referred to. You said that we must have international contacts with reliable partners. Your Excellency, today we're doing just what you directed us to do. Reliable partners. Your Excellency, I want to ask Ugandans to put their hands together for our reliable partners, UAE. Your Excellency, you harness that relationship between Uganda and UAE to the extent that you moved it away from just diplomatic relationships between UAE and Uganda to commercial and economic relationship. I'm going to elaborate that in a minute. Your Excellency, today, the exports of Uganda to UAE has increased by 37.8%. Ugandans' exports to UAE now stands at 1.4 billion US dollars. Your Excellency, the foreign direct investment coming in from UAE to Uganda stands at 3 billion. Ugandans, let's clap for the Emirates. They told me that they say Mashallah, and I want to say Mashallah. Mr. President, Ugandans' exports of goods and services to UAE now stands at 2 billion. Your Excellency, this is what you told us, that we must harness international relations with reliable partners. We have had partners over the years, but I want to say thank you, UAE, for being reliable. Your Excellency, when we were having discussions with them yesterday in this summit, the leader of delegation, His Excellency Rashid, told me and the Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda that he is very willing to bring for us companies to come and do value addition on our gold. Your Excellency, UAE alone has 14 gold refineries. But His Excellency Rashid revealed to us yesterday that they have coffee factories, that they do value addition of coffee. They do value addition on tea. They do value addition on gold, but they have 0 reserves of gold and 0 gardens of coffee and tea. And therefore, they look at Uganda as a gateway, not only to East Africa, but the gateway to the whole of Africa. Your Excellency, the delegation from UAE gave us good assurance, and they walk the talk. You know the global gases that you did attract, they are already here. Your Excellency, Amir Power, you did talk to them. They are now building for us that solar plant in Madiokolo for energy security. Your Excellency, you've heard from Modern Tiles, creating jobs for Ugandans. Your Excellency, One Mobility, interested, and KCCA made a very big pitch that they must come and work on the road infrastructure and also the transport of the public sector. Your Excellency, allow me to say this about Uganda that you have created, that your energy and efforts to the development of Uganda has been recognized not only in the region, but globally. Your Excellency, as I speak, Uganda has been ranked, and this is by Oxford, not Africans ranking Uganda. Uganda has been ranked as the third most rewarding economy to invest in Africa. So friends from UAE, I know that you know the language of money and you love to make money. If you want to get return on investment, this was not said by Anite, but by Oxford, that you will surely get reward on your investment. Your Excellency, Uganda has been ranked as the best tourist destination. This is by CNN. I know that you watch the global news, and Your Excellency, the delegations here said those of them who would not be interested in investing, they're interested in tourism, and that's why they want to come and tour Uganda in the remaining 3 days. Your Excellency, Uganda has been ranked as the best investment destination in East Africa, and this was done by UAE. Thank you very much for recognizing Uganda as the best investment destination in East Africa. This would not be possible if we did not have President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni on power. Why do I say this? We had over 8 presidents before we got him. We are war after war. We have been stable for over 35 years. Please, if you're Ugandan, clap for President Museveni. If you invest in Uganda, you are looking for stability for your investment, and the country is Uganda in the region. We are very peaceful end to end, to the extent that we even do not only take care of the peace and stability of our people, we are the ones taking care of peace and stability of the people of Somalia. We are the ones ensuring that there's peace and stability in Democratic Republic of Congo. I'll go on and list, but you know, when your teacher is around, you do not have to outshine the teacher. Mr. President, I will stop there because I know you're the most competent leader that we've had as a country, that you will indeed promote the country, and you will indeed continue with your noble duty of making Uganda stable and attracting investment to our country for job creation and for the transformation of Uganda and Africa. I thank you very much for leading the country, Uganda. That said, Mr. President, before I invite you, allow me request the leader of delegation from UAE to come and make his remarks, and then I'll be back to invite you. Mr. Rashid. Let's put it.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Your Excellency, Yoweri Museveni, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Your Excellency, please allow me, on behalf of the delegation, to congratulate you for the Independent Days that you have celebrated 2 days ago. This is a very important event for us to come to here. Almost, Your Excellency, 2 years ago, His Excellency Zaki Kabedi and I had a very short meeting. And during that meeting, we were discussing the opportunities between the two countries. And we said, why not? Why not just do a homework? Why not just find out what could happen to us when we further discuss the opportunities? Your Excellency, as you are aware of, in UAE, we are looking for the sustainable growth of the economy, and we want to rely on a knowledge base and innovations. So we are discovering opportunities all over the world. And 2 years after that meeting, we are here. What we are expecting from this event? One, Your Excellency, we want to attract the FDI. to UAE and the investment from UAE to be attracted to here. Because we believe, Your Excellency, a successful business will not happen unless there's a win-win case. So we want to facilitate for the two sides to take advantage of each other. Two, we want to encourage the trade and the tourism. Three, we want to promote technology transfer for both of our countries. And if a businessman from your side, from Uganda, thinking why shall they consider Abu Dhabi? As you are all aware of, we have a very clear vision. We have a very clear strategy. 80% of the world population could be reached from UAE within 8 hours flying. And that gives it a very strong logistic platform to travel in and out. And we have different incubator, not to forget the last important points. We have diversified and different financial support and non-financial support to the potential investments. And what do we in Abu Dhabi look for? And UAE in general as well. We believe, first of all sectors are important. There's no sectors less important than the others. However, we believe that there are sectors in Abu Dhabi, if we concentrate on the impact of the GDP will be higher. Again, we have a vision, we called it Falcon economy. We want by 2040 our GDP to reach $1 trillion, that's in Abu Dhabi. So, the sectors that we believe in would have bigger impact are the financial services, the agri-tech, the tourism, ICT, healthcare, biopharmaceutical, and the industrial. And when we dig down, for example, if I take the industrial strategy, what are we doing? Abu Dhabi government has allocated $3.6 billion to be invested for the next 5 years, started last year. And we are expecting the GDP of the industrial to grow by 100%, reaching $46.8 billion by 2030. And the re-export to increase by 143%, reaching $48.7 billion. And we are looking to add 13,600 new jobs. So this is the strategy of the industry that we have put on. Started last year. As we talk today, what did we do? What did we achieve? What have we done? The GDP in the first half of 2023 in Abu Dhabi increased by 4%. And the non-oil GDP increased by 9.2%. That shows, Your Excellency, that we are serious. And we put our objective, and we usually reach the objectives that we are trying to get. Now, what does that mean to an event like this? Again, as I said, this is a win-win case. It is not only UAE, it is the partnership that we could get. We arrived here, Your Excellency, 2 days ago, and we went into different discussions. Believe me, we have seen huge opportunities, and I could clearly say, for the businessmen, for the pioneers, for the investments from Uganda, they could use UAE as a gateway to the Middle East, to Europe, and to Asia. Then we already discussed with our colleagues, our businessmen, that Uganda, it is not only a gateway to the Great Lakes region. We could use it as a gateway for whole of Africa. In conclusion, Your Excellency, last night, His Excellency the Ambassador and I are discussing the 4th edition of this forum. That means not next year, the year after, when we come back here. And we already started to put the plan together. So, That means, I think, inshallah, Rabbil Alameen, we're going to come back again within 2 years, and the numbers that was mentioned, the 3 billion, it's not going to be tripled. We need to go much higher than that. Wish us all the best luck. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my singular pleasure to ask all of us to stand up and receive the address from His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni as we put our hands together.
Hello, the Honorable Ministers, the Undersecretary from UAE, and business delegations which are here. I welcome you to Uganda. And on this occasion, I again highlight the crucial ingredients in whatever we are doing. Here we are talking about prosperity through business. And with that, in order to achieve prosperity, number one, you produce a good or a service. You produce a product. It can be a good or a service. And once you produce it, in order for it to give you money, you must sell it. Somebody must buy it. So the relationship between the producers of goods and services and the consumers of those goods and services. This is very crucial. This is something people did not understand initially. In Europe, there was a clever man called Adam Smith. In 1776, he wrote a book entitled The Source of the Wealth of Nations. Because at that time there was a lot of confusion in the world. People did not know where wealth came from, especially in Europe. In Europe they were having a lot of confusion. Europe had been through the Dark Ages from the time of the collapse of the Roman Empire in 450 AD, and for 1,000 years they were in the Dark Ages. They were in chaos. Then in 1400 they started getting some peace, and what they were calling the Renaissance. The Renaissance, the rebirth of knowledge. But still, they did not know how to move forward. because people came with confused ideas. One idea which they came up with was what they called bullionism. Bullionism. Some people thought that if you had a lot of gold, a lot of silver, then you would be a rich country. That's why there was the fear of bullionism. And that's what some of the countries did, like Spain and Portugal. They went to South America, killed all the Indians there, stole the gold, but ended up being the most backward countries in Europe. So, bullionism was not working. Then there was another group in France. They were called physiocrats. These physiocrats believed that agriculture was the source of value. That if you had agriculture, you had all the wealth. Then, of course, later on we had people like Karl Marx, who said that labor, the workers, were the most important element in wealth. But Adam Smith helped the world to understand by saying that wealth will come from specialization and exchange. You specialize in something you are good at, and you concentrate on it, and you produce it, and you exchange it to somebody else. That will create more wealth. So Adam Smith, therefore, contributed to the clarification of thinking. Because in the world, many of the things are distorted by wrong thinking. Yes. You think wrongly, you end up with wrong results. So, therefore, Adam Smith helped with the issue of knowing that private effort, specialization, private initiative will create more wealth than other methods. Free enterprise, in other words, free enterprise. But he forgot one thing. He did not analyze the issue of, he dealt with the issue of how to produce, but forgot to deal with the issue of who buys what you produce. That's why by 1929 the capitalist system in Europe had a crisis. It was called the Great Depression. It collapsed. And that's how you had another man, another thinker, called Maynard Keynes, who came and pointed out that, you see, it is better you make somebody dig a hole and you don't put anything there, and you make him fill it again, and you pay him. Because once you pay him, he will go to the shops and buy what is in the shops. And buying in the shops will stimulate more production. So I think all these wonderful planners whom I see running up and down in the world, we have got all sorts of planners running up and down. They should remember these crucial elements. Number one, production of a good or a service. Number two, who will buy this good or service? And in the case of Uganda, you have the possibility of both. You can come here, you produce any good or service you want to produce, and you will have assured markets. Market number one, 46 million Ugandans. They are here, they will buy. Then you have 300 million East Africans. Because we organized these markets, we were clear from the beginning that we needed these markets. That's why we worked on the issue of regional integration. So you have the market of East Africa of 300 million people. We are now working on the market of Africa, what we call CFTA, Continental Free Trade Area, of 1.5 billion people. And by those Ugandan women are producing a lot of children, very active with children. So by 2050, population of Africa will be 2.5 billion. It will be the biggest population on earth. Up to now, Africa has been underpopulated. Because you can hear that even today, population of Africa now is about 1.5 billion. We have just overtaken India and China. But remember that that India is 1 million square miles of land. Africa is 12 million square miles. So you can fit India into Africa 12 times, and it will fit there. So therefore, Africa has got capacity to accommodate more population. So therefore, in terms of business planning, when you are here, you are in the right place at the right time. In terms of planning, so you can have the production, you have the market of Uganda, market of East Africa, market of Africa. But also, we have negotiated with the United States for what we call AGOA, African Growth Opportunity Act, where we can sell to the United States. You know, there are many Africans in the United States. They were taken there as slaves, but they are now a very powerful group there. And one of them, you remember, was president of that country recently. You must have heard of that African who was president of United States. And we have trade arrangements with China and with the UAE, not UAE, European Union. So therefore you have the internal market, you have the regional market, you have the continental market, and then you have got the third party markets, including like the one of Dubai, of UAE. So now number three, you need infrastructure. You need infrastructure to do a number of things. First of all, to power the production, like you need electricity, to power the factories and so on. You need the water to use in the factories. You need the telephones. you need the transport, the roads, the railway, the ports, the water transport. All that is part of infrastructure, so that you are connected, so that the producer of the good or the service is connected to the consumer. Now, all these are in place, or are being put in place, or can be put in place here in the case of Uganda. Then you need the natural resources. And Uganda has got a big spectrum, a wide spectrum of natural resources from which you can produce the goods or the services. As you can see, we have got very good agriculture. If you look at recently there were problems in the world, war in Ukraine, Corona, what? And many people in the other parts of the world had a lot of problems. Inflation went up. Inflation. Here, initially inflation went up a bit to 10%, but it is now 2%. It is one of the lowest in the world, the inflation rate. Why? Because we have got everything here. We have got food, except those who don't want to eat our indigenous food. They are the ones who suffer. But like me, I have no problem at all. We have all the food, the biggest, greatest foods here. We have the raw materials for everything else, for textiles, for what? From agriculture. Like, for instance, our people here were importing leather from China. Why import leather from China? We have everything here. So we have now put up our leather factories. No more importation of leather. Instead, we shall be exporting. So the agro-processing is a huge area to process grains, process milk, dairy products, process beef, process fruits. Everything is, the raw materials are there. The cotton, textiles. Then you also have forest products. The trees here grow very quickly. One time I visited the king of Sweden, and he told me that a pine tree in Sweden takes 120 years to mature in Sweden because it's cold. But here, a pine tree takes 7 years. It will be mature here. So therefore, I was speaking with somebody, I think it is whether Modern or another group, the one who was talking about producing paper from bamboo. You know, paper is from plants, from trees and so on. Here, very easy to produce forest products from which you can turn into industrial products, paper, furniture, syringe boards, and so on. And some have already started. So, the natural resource base, you start with agriculture for animals, for in our rich language, you don't call domestic livestock animals. If you call them animals, we shall be very frightened. Animals are the ones in the bush. Enyamaishwa. But cows, you cannot call cow animal. No, not in our language. Cow is not an animal, it is something else. This is part of our very rich culture and language. So you have the crops as a natural resource base. You have the livestock, domestic. You can say livestock. It's better. Amatungo. Then you have the freshwater resources. There are quite a number of factories here already processing fish from these freshwater bodies. I think the factories must be like now 12 or something like that. Processing tilapia, processing Nile perch, and we can do more. We can do more. So that's another resource base. Then you have the minerals which Modern was talking about, like the iron ore, the gold and all that, the fertilizers, phosphates. We have got a huge deposit of phosphates. The aluminium, the high value minerals like lithium. We are going to produce our solar batteries, our lithium batteries for our electric cars, which we are already making here. So all those are possible. Minerals is another natural resource base. Then you have the knowledge industry, like the automobiles, which our people are now engaged in. The scientists they have designed the electric vehicles, which we are going to produce here. In the past, we gave a chance to our partners from outside, but they didn't take that chance. Like we have been buying bridge vehicles for a long time, the Range Rover, the what. Then we started buying some German vehicles, Mercedes-Benz and so on. Then we started buying Japanese vehicles. And all this time we were begging these friends to even assemble those vehicles here, but they wouldn't listen. They wouldn't listen. But now they have lost that opportunity. We're now going to make our own cars. And somebody started telling me about assembling. I said, no, too late. Don't tell me about assembling. I don't want to hear about assembling. I invited you, you didn't come, so now it's too late. We are going to make our own vehicles. So that's a whole sector. Then you have the pathogenic economy. People have been making money from our diseases, vaccines, our other diseases, malaria, what. So now we are now going to make this money ourselves so that we treat our diseases. So all these are huge opportunities, and really our movement which started as a student movement in the 1960s as part of the anti-colonial movement, we have been able to tell our people that we need to work with the private sector from wherever. Because if somebody comes, wherever, regardless of where he comes from, and puts a factory here, we are going to share benefits with him. Initially, Africans here did not understand the importance of the private sector. The African leaders, they made a lot of mistakes in the 1960s and 70s because they did not understand clearly the anatomy of private sector. And I tried to talk to some of them, but they didn't get it clearly. Otherwise, Africa would be very far now. These countries like South Korea was much poorer than many of the African countries. But because our leaders made a mistake on the issue of the private sector, starting with Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, then our other leaders here, they confiscated private property. They were calling it nationalization. I don't know how you call it in Arabic. Nationalization, what was the translation? Because I want them to understand it. Nationalization. What was it called? Where the government was taking over private businesses. What was it called?
Your Excellency, thank you for the opportunity. It's called in Arabic ta'meem.
Huh?
Ta'meem in Arabic.
Ta'meem.
Ta'meem, yes.
Ta'meem.
Which means the government takes over all the business sector.
Oh, okay. Now, that ta'meem was a big mistake here. Now, in Swahili, which is linked with Arabic, one of our languages called Swahili is linked with Arabic. They call it kutaifisha. Taifisha. Taifa, I think is also in Arabic, meaning country, taifa. Taifa. So here in Swahili we say kutaifisha. When the country takes over my private. So this was many people outside don't know why Africa has lagged behind. This was one of the main reasons. You can imagine here in Uganda, we had our Indian people who had come from India and become Ugandan. And they were very active. You know, our Indian people are very active in business. But one of our leaders, Idi Amin, chased them and stole their property. Idi Amin. Why was he chasing these people? They were working for the country in an area where the African Ugandans were not active, because the African Ugandans were in crops, in livestock, in fishing, but not in business. They were not active in business. And these Indians were active there. And Idi Amin chased them. But when we came, we brought them back. I don't know whether there are some more here. Our returnee Indians, did they come? Who is here? Come and we'll see you, the returnee. Come and we'll see how he looks like. This is just a young boy. Maybe the parents, your parents are the ones who came back?
Yes, Your Excellency. My grandmother is from Bombo. My father is born in Bombo also. So
yes.
we came back after you called us.
Your father is still alive?
Yes, my father is still alive. Your
How old is he?
He's 75 now, Your Excellency.
What business were they doing before they were chased?
They were doing beer trading, Your Excellency.
They were doing
trading in Nakaseke areas.
Retail.
Retail.
Oh, okay. So all those were chased, but we brought them back because it was a big mistake. So the reason we think it will be very easy to move is if the government concentrates on public goods, on the roads, the railway, the electricity, the infrastructure, education, health, and then so that we lower the cost of doing business in the economy. Because what Honorable Anita is saying, that Uganda is number what? What is it? Uganda has done what?
Your Excellency, with your efforts, you've made Uganda to be #1 best investment destination in East Africa, and #3 for you to get return on investment in the whole of Africa. That's by Oxford.
Thank you. But this is in spite of doing little. We have done, because we are now just beginning. For instance, electricity, the cost of electricity per unit is still a bit high. We want to bring it to 5 cents per unit. We are going to work on the railway so that the transport costs are lower, instead of, because we are now mainly using road from here to the ocean. And on the side of Kenya, the ocean is 800 miles away from here, on the side of Kenya. On the side of Tanzania, the ocean is 1,000 miles away from here. And we are now saying that this long distance is better, it is covered by rail rather than by road transport. Because rail transport is cheaper than road transport. But you now hear that we are ranked #1, what, in spite of these obstacles which we need to resolve, which we are going to resolve. We have repaired the old meter gauge railway, and we are going to build the standard gauge railway so that we handle the issue of the transport costs to the ocean. And then electricity, that one we are moving on very well. So I welcome these companies which are coming to do solar power. They will contribute. So therefore, really, you should clarify to our friends from the UAE that this area is very good for business, and most of the requirements are in place. The market is in place because we worked on it politically. Uganda, but East Africa, we had to work on it to integrate, to create the East African market by negotiating with our brothers. And by 1980, the Africans started waking up. You know, many people in the world, you call sleeping naim in Arabic, sleeping. Naim. Many people in the world suffer from naim. Just asleep. Even here, Africans are fond of sleeping. But in 1980, they started waking up. This was about 20 years after independence. When they met in Lagos, Nigeria, they said, we have been naim, we have been asleep. There is no way Africa can develop without creating one market. That's when we started. We started in 1980, what was called the Lagos Plan of Action. Lagos is a city in Nigeria. And that's when it started. They had been asleep until that time when they woke up. So we have now moved. We have moved. So that creates, because now if we do not have the regional market, we will be in problems. We already have a big surplus of milk. We produce a lot of milk. The internal consumption is about 1/5. So where do we sell the milk? The region. They're the ones who are helping us. How about the sugar? How about the cement? How about the steel? If we do not have the regional market, Uganda would be stuck. So when you see like Latin America is richer than the United States in terms of natural resources. If you look at the water, the amount of water in South America, fresh water, the forests, the minerals, much richer. But they are disorganized. They are disorganized. They are fragmented. The market of South America is fragmented. So you can't succeed. It's not easy to succeed in Latin America. And that's why you find people running away from Latin America, walking on foot, running away from poverty of South America to the prosperity of the United States. Because the United States were clever enough, those original people, George Washington and others, they were able to unite those colonies of Britain. The 13 colonies, they united them, and then, so you create a very good market for a wealth creator. If I create wealth, if I produce, I sell easily. I can sell to many people. That's why you find that these big countries are now overtaking the small countries of Europe. Now, China is richer, has got a bigger economy than UK, than France, than Germany, partly because of the size of the internal market. So here we saw this and we worked on it, and we want to share it with our friends. So therefore, you are most welcome. And you Ugandans, you should not fear working with, either working with, or even if they come and invest alone, you don't have to get a local partner. It's not very crucial. If you get a reliable one, good. If you don't, come alone. Because Uganda will still benefit. You know, I had some discussion with Field Marshal Mubarak, the late president of Egypt, when I visited him first time. And I mentioned to him, because in Egypt, they had a policy that in order for me to invest in Egypt, I must get an Egyptian partner. I said, Field Marshal, what is this for? This is not correct. Why? Why does he have to get a local partner? What for? Because, and I gave him the example, I said, Field Marshal, if I come and invest in Egypt, and my company earns $100 million in a year, like for instance, if I build a textile factory, first of all, I'll have to buy cotton. And cotton is local. So the $100 million the gross, part of it will go to buy cotton. Then I pay the workers who will be local. then I cannot come with my own electricity. I will have to pay for the electricity from local. How about the water? Where would I get water from? I cannot come with water from what? Now, by the time I finish doing all that, out of the $100 million gross, you may find I remain only with 15% or 20%. 80% is now remaining here. And this is all local, this is all new money which was not there before because there was no investment. There was zero earning. But now, our friend from out has got $20 million out of the 100 million, and me, I have got 80 million because of these flows of money into the different activities. So therefore, and that's why the economists, and you wonder why people say they're economists, then you wonder what sort of economists they are. That's why we make a distinction between GDP, gross domestic product, and the GNP. GNP is the wealth of Ugandans here or abroad. GDP is the wealth of everybody who has invested in Uganda, whether he's Ugandan or not. And if you look at China, the GDP now there is about 19 trillion. GNP is about 14 trillion. So you find that China is benefiting from more from investments from outside. Even the US, about 2 trillion or so is from outside. So therefore, you Ugandans, you should welcome FDI, foreign direct investment. Don't waste their time. And don't say in your confused language here, because in their language here, they say, factory yomuyindi. A corridor yomuyindi. In their language, when our Indian people build a factory here, they say, the Indian's factory in our local language. And I tell them, I said, there is no Indian factory here. All the factories here are Ugandan. Regardless of who builds it. And I tell them that you Ugandans, do we have these African Ugandans, black Ugandans, who are investors, or you are just rumor mongers? Who owns the factory here? These are all just rumor mongers. Anani nekolero wano. Jangu tukulabe. Aliruda woyo agorodo mukono. Emabega. Go to the microphone. I'll need you to kirabika.
Your Excellency, thank you very much. My name is Joseph Nkandu. I am the Executive Director of Nucafe. We are coffee farmers who have, collectively worked around and we have invested. Your Excellency.
Mukoze kolero.
Yes, sir.
Wawona.
Sebo inamave. Nae even in the countryside.
Oh, okay.
So in Namave we have our centralized factory where we are processing coffee all the way up to roasted coffee.
To roasted coffee.
Yes, sir.
Oh, mwawale. Katoli umulala. Umulala yani.
Your Excellency, Tulifena with Nucafe. Deus Nwagaba is my name.
You are different from
Tulifena with Joseph.
You are together?
Yes,
yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Yes. Now, you see these people, have built a coffee factory in Namamvi for roasting coffee. Thank you so much. Mwabalo kuzukuka. I'm congratulating them from Naim, from sleeping. Now, if you had built that factory in India, we would not say Ugandan factory in India, we would say Indian factory in India, regardless of who you are. So, because if you went and built that factory in India, it would be part of the Indian GDP, not part of Uganda's GDP. So when these people come and build factories here, these are part of Uganda's GDP, gross domestic product. So tell your people to stop saying that factory yomuyindi, economy yomuyindi, mulekerao. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I wish you good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. And Excellency, as you heard the benefits that have come out of the strong relations between Uganda and UAE, it would not have been achieved without your support. I'm just here to thank you for always supporting our efforts, because last week, the Principal Private Secretary, Dr. Mona, told me that when he saw our invitation, you said, UAE, I'm going to be available. Tukwebaza new President, webalino. I want also to thank our colleagues at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs who have always helped us to coordinate all the follow-ups. Stand up for recognition. So, and of course, when I thanked you with the Investment Authority and all the, okay, and all the other institutions, I talked about them. Apart from the PS Trade, I didn't see you by the time I was recognizing the available institutions. Stand up so that our guests can see you. She's the Permanent Secretary, the Ministry of Trade. So she's going to be interacting with us on Friday to talk about any issues that you may require to know about trade and the policies. And also, they requested the URA. I don't know if the commission has come. Ambassador Kamahunje, follow up please with the Commissioner General URA to attend on Friday. URA did not come, and also the Minister of Energy. Yesterday they did not come. If they can attend on Friday, I thank you. Maurice.
All right, very shortly, our chief guest will return. We will have two activities happening. One is, of course, the anthems in reverse order. And before the departure of our chief guest, we'll have the photo moment. And there's only two sets of photos. And I'm sure the protocol team has alerted our visiting delegation. The head of delegation and your team will have the very first photo. And then the Ugandan heads of government agencies will have the next set of next photo immediately after that. As the ambassador said, we will have our closing session on Friday. That session will include a conversation on insurance, the insurance policy here in Uganda. And as he's guided, we will have the tax body, URA, Uganda Revenue Authority. The PS Minister of Trade and her team will be at hand on the conversations around doing business in Uganda. We will have presentations on sustainable and community impactful investments that will be contributed to by various institutions, including our visiting institutions from the UAE and local companies here in Uganda. We will then have the closing ceremony thereafter in the afternoon, which will include statements from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, our hosts, the delegation from the UAE, and of course our guest of honor that day, who will officially close the business forum with our gala dinner, and that has been shared with all key stakeholders. We want to appreciate all the key institutions that were part of yesterday's opening ceremony that made presentations, including the KCCA, Export Promotions Board, Uganda Tourism Board, the Free Zones Authority, and of course the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development. We also did receive representation from key institutions in facilitating investment and doing business here in Uganda, Uganda Revenue Authority, the Registration Services Bureau, and the National Bureau of Standards. We later did receive a presentation from KCCA on the investment opportunities within the city, and that was well received given the interest in some of the specific areas like the transport infrastructure within the city, where One Mobility Group will be having engagements with KCCA. We then had an insightful conversation with the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce, the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda, and the National Chamber of Commerce that were represented in the session just before the breakaway parallel sessions that happened in the afternoon. We do appreciate the visiting delegation, and in specific, with specific interest, the contribution of the head of delegation in the conversation around trade and tourism. We really want to appreciate your insightful conversation in that panel discussion and the parallel sessions that happened. We had the agriculture and agri-business conversation that had also the Executive Director NADS, Dr. Samuel, who is also here, and all the other key stakeholders moderated by the Honorable Victoria Sechitoleko, and later transitioned to infrastructure, transport, real estate, and ICT that included the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. Your Excellency, we will only have a couple of photos immediately after the anthems, but I wanted, with your permission, Your Excellency, to introduce some of your Bazukulu in this room. The first category is the Association of Ugandans in the UAE. Some of the leadership is here. If you can stand for recognition. They appreciate your support, and Your Excellency, they will be, of course, hosting their convention in November later this year in the run-up to COP. Your Excellency, as the UAE delegation mentioned that they will be, of course, hosting COP28, we did also mention to them, Your Excellency, that we will be hosting AFCON 2027. Your Excellency, the other category... Mzei bana Uganda bazibu njogede ku AFCON tebakuba mungalo banange ngalo ziriwa. Your Excellency, I didn't recognize some of our heads of agencies who are here. I want in a very special way, and I know the Honorable Anite recognized our Executive Director, KCCA, Ms. Dorothy Kisaka. Please stand for recognition. The KCCA Executive Director. We have the Chair of Uganda Tourism Board, the Honorable Migereko Daudi, and the Executive Director of NADS, the National Agriculture Advisory Services, Dr. Samuel. We want to thank you for joining us. Your Excellency, we'll have the anthems. May we stand for the anthems in reverse order, and then we'll have the photos after that. All right, I want to now request the head of delegation from the UAE and your team, the members of ADNOC, Sharjah Chamber of Commerce, and the Deputy Ambassador of the UAE to Uganda to take the very first photo with His Excellency the President. You will move forward, and the protocol teams will handle that. Of course, inviting His Excellency the Ambassador Chibedi and Ambassador Mayiga to join them with the Honorable Minister Nite. And I also want to prepare the next set will be with our sponsors, Modern Group and the other sponsors. You will share just one person each from the sponsors, just one representative from the sponsors. And then we will have, with your permission, Your Excellency, the photo of the embassy staff and the consulate staff. That will be the last photo of the group. So we will have the very first photo, the head of delegation with His Excellency the President and the members of his delegation from the United Arab Emirates, including our ambassadors, Ambassador Kibedi and Ambassador Henry Mayiga, and the Honorable Minister Nite. That's the very first photo.